Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show. We are back. We are back. I'm Terry, your host, joined by my man, Dan. Mate,
How are we all doing?
I haven't seen you in 12 weeks.
Yeah, the COVID's affected us all, hasn't it? We've all been locked away in our little caves.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, how was your well-being? Let's start there. how are you doing?
Yeah, life's good, man. Yeah, life's good. So can't complain.
You want to cut the shit and tell me what's really going on?
No,
it's
angry bear, but apart from that.
Yeah. No, look, it was we're going to get to it. We're going to dissect it, obviously, for what it was. We'll wait a little bit, but frustrations will boil over. But at some point, we're going to have to move on. I just want to take this chance to thank Shad, who has us in this incredible studio here. Now, Shad runs a company called Assertive Media. He's got all your digital production needs here. It's a fantastic place, and this isn't possible without Shad. So, Shad, I know you're back there doing your thing. Thanks very much, mate. It's much appreciated, and it gives us another layer to add to this great Carlton experience of ours.
Decent coffee too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I also want to address something here. We all saw. I don't want to take away from the football, but sometimes football is not the most important thing, as we know. But I want to take this chance to just throw some support behind our man Eddie Betts. We all saw. If you haven't seen it, I'm not sure where you've been, but we've all seen the vilification. It's not the first time. White privilege over here. We would have no idea what that's like to see. I don't want to make this into a political thing, but at the end of the day, I do feel it would be remiss not to talk about it. Doc summed it up pretty well this morning, where he said we have no idea what Eddie would be feeling like. And I said to you before we started, I remember seeing it and I didn't share it at the time. And my thought process was, Eddie's going to be embarrassed to see that. And once I saw Eddie share it, that's where I took action and shared it myself. And that is where I think I've got to change and we've got to change. It's got to be stamped out. We are a bit of a jovial culture here in Australia, and the whole political correctness thing. People are saying it's getting out of hand, and I get the notion, but things like that, there's a line we've got to figure out. So anyway, that's my little bit on that. Dan, what do you think?
Oh, I mean, I've got to commend Essendon fans though.
Yeah,
that they rallied around him. I know Carlton fans as well, like Josh Klebs was a big brought it to the social media's attention. But I mean, it's 2020. Yeah. I mean, if you're holding them beliefs, you've got to really question what you're doing with your lives. I mean, it's abhorrent. It doesn't belong in society, sport, anywhere. Like, we should have moved on by now. And especially with what's going on in the world, that's bringing real Black Lives Matter attention to us white people. We're starting to notice it. The fact that people still think it's suitable to even drop that in joke is disgusting, really.
Yeah. So hopefully we can learn from it. Move it on. We call it out, and there's layers of this to go. But we'll leave it at that. Eddie, we're obviously right behind you, and obviously we're in your corner. I also want to talk a little bit about the members of the channel. So thanks to your support, obviously we're back in action now. So there's plenty of content coming out. But those of you who signed up to be a member of the channel, the support goes without saying. Doesn't need to be said here, but it's going to be said here. Thank you. So we've got ZV3, Riley, Staraj, Fallen Sports, Rafi Azar, Ryan Kellum, Black Carrot, David Trezizi, Omar Kazi, YouTube, and Adam Galgano. Thank you very much for your support. Now, mate, let's get cracking. Let's start with round two. I don't want to spend too much. Obviously, very emotional. All of us. All of us were very angry.
I handled it well.
Yeah, I thought you handled it. No, I thought everyone said what they needed to say. Let me get your experience. So, what happened? What's going on?
For me, I find it hard to watch these first quarters, and I find it hard to hear the same constant drivel that the club present about it. When you've got your head coach saying he honestly doesn't know in the post-press conference, that worries me when for the last 6 weeks prior, you said we were ready, we were good to go. There was talk from Teague himself saying that we are going to challenge. We are a top 8 side potentially this year. You've got Gary Lyon for banter saying that we're one of his favourites to win the flag. I mean, and then you put in that abject, pathetic performance. That was the most Carlton performance I've ever seen. Promise me the earth and deliver me sweet FO.
Yeah.
And it continues to happen. And to me, I think it's really obvious, and I covered it in my video. It's not the players so much. Tactically, we are inept from the first quarter. We move the ball so fluidly in the second quarter. But when David Teague is saying things like this to us, I told the midfield group to get their hands in the ball and impact a contest. That's the definition of being a fucking midfielder.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally what midfielders do. That is your job.
Yeah.
And it worries me because there's no getting away from it. I was very angry yesterday. This is a talented bunch of players.
I think that's where there's a lot of frustration, and it's compounded by the fact that we haven't had footy. You know, we're missing that element of life. It's a simple element of life, our sport, but we've been deprived of it. And so there might have been, you know, some extra emotion in there, but you're right. It's messaging, delivery. And, you know, I'll ask you I know the answer, but I want to ask you, when is the turning point from, oh, they hung in there and we can take solace from the fact that they didn't get spanked by 12 or 13 goals, to fail, didn't win, therefore it's a fail?
For me, it was round 1 this year when the team, all of the media team, all the captains said that we will be judged on results. So to me now, there's no such thing as effort. To me, when I hear the effort, that hurts me even more because you are being paid 6 figures to show effort. That should be, you said it yourself, the non-negotiable. Yeah. That's the one non-negotiable. I expect them to try.
You don't get bonus points for making a game of it again. That's what you had to do.
Like, I expect my children to bring effort in everything they do. It's the application is what I'll judge. And for me, I think personally, I admire anyone's opinion who's different to mine. I respect that. But to me, you aren't doing the club a favour if you're going against what David Teague said in his own words, that we are now going to be judged on results. The expectation is there. Ignore this 3-year player bollocks. Matt Rowell destroyed the best midfield on his own in his second game. You are there, you are good enough. And
look, I get that. I get that. At the end of the day, we're going to have to move on at some point. We're going to have to get practical at some point. We know what it was. We know how disappointed we are. We know how good they can be. We know how talented they can be. And I don't want this to be a pot shot show. I want the purpose of this is to be as interactive as possible. So please, if any of your views are out there, please be sure. I've got the laptop here, so I'm happy to read them out. End of the day, we're a kick away from winning a game. I felt at times, honestly, in that fourth quarter, I felt at times like I didn't want to win. I kind of wanted to lose because that's what we deserved at the start. It was weird. When do you ever get a game of footy where you're down by 40 and you should have won by 3 goals?
Oh, I mean,
you know,
I think it was 7 minutes into the fourth quarter, we had 90% possession. And to me, I think what everyone's forgetting about who says we came back into the game is any side in the top 10, you give them 90% of the ball. And Melbourne had put the cue in the rack. They'd gone. I'd spoken to a few Melbourne fans who said we'd given up. You'd win by 10 goals. And we didn't. And to me, there's another issue. We controlled the footy in the fourth quarter and our old heads imploded as well. I think there's a bigger issue than the first quarter. Ignore the first quarter. We know we're trash. But we couldn't beat a team that wasn't willing to play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, look, trying to take some positives out of it. What were there? I mean, it's more so individual. And if there's one thing I saw, Wiedering has announced himself. We ran the game out pretty well. And I don't know if that's because we just weren't running hard enough in the first quarter and we had to make up for it. But we did look like we ran the game out pretty well. Conversion, look, I get it. We'll be better for it. I'm confident that if we play that game later in the year, we'll be better for it. But wins are worth so much more in 2020. There's only 17 games we're playing, right? A win is worth so much more. You can't make up for it. And, you know, we need to win. We need to win games of football quickly. Everyone wants to win, obviously, but coming from how far back we've come from, I just feel like it's just a wasted opportunity. We'll be looking back on this game at the end of 2020, I feel, very similar to the way we look back at the Hawthorn game last year, very similar to the way we look back at the Gold Coast game last year. Different circumstances, obviously, we were up by, you know, a comfortable margin and we let it slip. But these tough losses, you know, I get it. Richmond went through it, but, you know, we've got to learn to win.
100%.
Where does it start? Where does it start? And this is an open question. I'll start with you, Dan, but for you guys at home, where does it start? What's the first thing we've got to address? minus the start of the game, the first quarter. But what is it? We hear about the quotes of we're addressing it, we're trying to knock it on its head. But what does that mean?
I mean, for me, we do live in if onlys as fans. Like you said, if only a few times there. Like, if only my nan had wheels, she'd be a bike. So, like, you can't look at it that way, in my opinion. In my opinion, what we need to do is start addressing it actually on the field and stop talking nonsense and staying quiet. My criticism last year was sauce pandered to the media and says who we're signing, what we're doing. Trade, our first round pick is up for negotiation. Stay a bit quiet, man. Like, address the problem on the field. Show me you've changed. To me, the problem we've got massively is Murphy, Doc, Kid Simpson, Patrick Cripps. All of these made huge errors when the game was on the line.
Yeah.
And it's because they haven't got a Scooby-Doo how to win a football match. These guys are all serial losers. They're specialists in failure.
There's something to be said for those experienced heads, the Eds, the Murphs, the Simmos. Cruiser's not playing, but I remember that being a worry when Cruiser and Murphy were drafted. I remember thinking at the time, well, where do we have that premiership experience that can come in and set those premiership standards? And, it is what it is. Murph and Simo have ran their race in their careers as perennial losers. I think Simo, so if we lose this week, there was
this
a stat.
Week he joins top of the tree, most losers in the
we love Simo, champion, loyal. Obviously, he could have left all of that, but the reality of the point is that it's hard to just change into a winning culture when the guys above you don't know any more than what you have right now anyway. And I don't know, do you go and recruit premiership players? I don't know. I don't know.
I think for me, like, I just used the phrase there, they're specialists in failure. That's no detriment to them as people, but all they know is how to lose. They've never been in them positions to win. And if you look at like Brisbane last year when they had Hodgie, you could see that reliability of he knew how to do things in certain points. And when you've got Doc making, and I know it's harsh to pick on Doc, but when you've got him handballing over the biggest, cumbersome, most useless tall forward in the history of the game in Tom McDonald, he's crap.
Yeah.
And he's making them mistakes. Hodge wouldn't make that mistake. Jordan Lewis wouldn't make that mistake.
Yeah, there was a few of those, especially late in that fourth.
Imagine being Sam Walsh. When people are criticising Sam Walsh, he's a first-year player, goddammit. He shouldn't be expected to win you a football match. But when you could see it was panic stations it was like, oh my God, we're going to win this game.
It was like, well, we didn't think we'd be here, but we're here.
For me, we need that reliability. And if Doc is suffering from the yips, if Cripper is, and Cripps is meant to be this unheralded hero, this Hercules type guy who can put you on your back, and he's missing two set shots from the same freaking spot.
Yeah.
We need to address it. And I think that comes from the coaching culture. They're all losers. The players are all losers. We need a winner. Look at Geelong. They've got Scarlett. They've got legends of the game in the back room.
I think I think Carousella's in that coach box.
I mean, they've got players that all they know is win.
Yeah, we spoke about that a little bit last year in the assistant coaches of Collingwood, West Coast, Richmond, and Geelong. We spoke about talking about premiership players. I really like having Luke Power because I have confidence that he knows what it's all about. He knows exactly what it takes to be at the very best. And he did speak about, he did that article for the club on the website about mindset and consistency and bridging the gap between our best and our worst. I spoke a little bit about it in my review about the messaging and whatnot. This morning we had Doc talk. He did a press conference, and he answered the question directly. Sam McClure, I believe it was him. It's the voice I thought I recognized.
That probably was,
yeah. He asked him, what do you put it down to? And this was regarding the start. And the direct quote was, it's one of those things. It's a multi-layered thing. He went on to say, what it comes down to is a bit harder to find out whether it's as an individual or as a team. We're unpacking it as a group. We'll address it. And as a leader, we have to get it right. And we'll be ready to go this week. And it was just, again, we got that constant, and Doc's someone who I trust. Cripper is someone that I trust to, hold themselves accountable. I do. I trust them as leaders. I understand they haven't been bred into a winning culture, but I do trust the two of them to get it right. I can, I don't question their endeavor to want to win. But the reality is we've got to just get it done. And it's hard being a fan because, we think we know the answer. We're trying to debate the answer, but we're just so... There's an element of we don't know what to do. We're servants to the club, and we have to wait for the performance to sort of have our peace. Thoughts?
I've heard it all before, though.
Yeah.
We'll be ready. Teague said that on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look freaking ready.
No, they didn't look ready.
Like, to me, that's a wind-up, and I don't accept that.
Doc's
I actually
quote.
think Doc is taking the piss out of me personally.
Yeah. What do you think? Let us know.
Like, for me, I don't want to hear it's multi-layered, we're unpacking it. I want to hear we're addressing it. See you Saturday.
I want to go another level further. Like, what are they doing to address it? Is it as simple as sitting around a table and looking each other in the eye? Because it can't be. I'm sure they've done that already.
Feels at the moment it's a willy waving contest at Carlton Football Club. And
What do you mean?
imagine...
What do you mean?
A willy waving, I just feel like at the moment it's like everyone needs a pat on the back. Like that mentality of we're young, we're learning, we're hungry. Shut the fuck up. You're on 600k a year. If that's not enough motivation to win football matches, look at the freaking monogram on the front of the Guernsey.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
I can cop losses. I can cop losses, but the biggest thing that pissed me off, I'm not sure about you guys, but the biggest thing that pissed me off was when I watched Melbourne, who in my preview and throughout the week, I said, now Melbourne don't have the ability to get 7 goals up on us. They don't really put teams to the sword. The way that they tackled us compared to the way that we tackled them. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh. Maybe I'm saying, oh, hey, these bodies aren't developed and whatnot, but that can't be the case. Gold Coast can do it, can physically impose themselves against the biggest, strongest, one of the biggest, strongest teams in the competition with hardened bodies. We should be able to do it. And if we lose in the process, like, I'll cop it. Geelong, I don't go there with confidence, right? I go there thinking there is a chance we can win. We love having our backs against the wall and everyone riding us off.
That is the most likeliest game I think we could win.
Yeah. In a funny way.
In
a funny way, it really is. It really is, because we're going to berate them. Kane Corns is already on it. He's on his bullshit. So I can see where it's going to happen, right? But yeah, I've said it before, we're reactive. We don't lead the game. Like, we don't have a Carlton brand that we come to the game with and then, go from there.
It's easy to chase a game, though. It's easier to chase than it is to lead. Very few people are leaders. Everyone is a follower.
Yeah.
It's human nature. So to me, I don't give them credit for getting back into the game because I want to know why they're not. And I don't actually think it's the players. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the tactical fundamentals of how we set up to start the game. We are inviting too much pressure.
Yeah.
And I will tell you now, Melbourne will get battered this weekend. Melbourne will get battered.
Yeah.
And to me, I want to see leadership, and we're not hearing it. And we need to stop pandering to the players.
Yeah.
These players are professional athletes. They knew what they were signing up for.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not offensive, they have to be criticized if they don't do their job.
Yeah. I've got faith that we have the right amount of talent. I really do. I have faith in most of the individuals, bar probably 2 or 3 on game day, right? I have faith in the top end talent getting it done because I've seen them get it done. I just haven't seen it for long enough, right? Let's get to some comments here because everyone is having their say as well. Flynn, Salvini. It starts from the Saturday. I don't expect us to come out and beat Geelong. That being said, it can be done. A performance with the kids going out there trying to win the game is all I ask. Speaking of that, I remember noticing before the game on Saturday, when was the last time we went into a game without a first-year player playing?
Feels like forever.
Yeah.
It has to be pre-2017.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, obviously, Walsh he played out of his skin last year. But yeah, it was, we're going to start having a list that goes out every week where they're hardened bodies. They're experienced heads, or so they should be. Where are we? Chanel Blanio. It was a mistake to cut Thomas since he had premiership experience. There's an interesting call there. Riley, a lot of issues, lack of aggression, a lack of class forward, a centre not named Jack Martin, calmness under pressure, the ability to adapt during a quarter, to stem the tide during a quarter. Absolutely. What have we got here? Jeff O'Day, I don't believe that anyone from the outside of the club can psycho-babble about the player's state of mind. Our players are not losers. They will start winning soon. You're just spreading absolute rubbish. Thanks, Jeff. Rafi, empty words, sounds like a politician's promise. There is a little bit of that.
To me, to answer Jeff O'Day's point, is look at their win percentages of players.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're losers in the childish term of you're a loser.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm saying that your CV says you lose more than you win.
Yeah.
So if you've ever played elite sport, which I've got the privilege of playing, you know that winning is habitual. I was a failed golfer because I didn't win enough. I just got used to losing.
Yeah.
And taking paychecks for being crap.
Yeah.
However, there was some people I played with, Simon Dyson to name one, world's top 50, who just had a hunger to win. He would do anything. He would sell his mother to win a tournament. And that is because he's got the fire in his belly and he knew how to win. And he just willed himself. So what I'm saying is Cripper and Doc, elite, all Australian footballers as players.
Yeah.
As winners, they're B graders.
Yeah.
And they need to learn. So we need to develop that winning culture. And the only way you do that is by having winners to teach that philosophy. Yeah.
It's chicken and the egg. What comes first? It's tough. It's a tough game to play. It's a tough situation to be in, but there's 18 clubs that have the same situation. So yeah. The other thing as well about this Melbourne game, we had a competition run on Instagram this week.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to the lovely Sammy G Design, who has created
some phenomenal stuff.
Some great work. I've been a big fan. I remember going on her page for the first time. She does a lot of basketball prints. And I remember she had like 300 followers and it was like really early in her page. And I'm like, she's very talented. Like the Footy A to Z guys, you know, when you see something and it's like, you're going to be good. Like that's going to work. So unfortunately, nobody guessed the margin. No one was close. So we had a free Carlton print thanks to Sammy G. And I think the closest guess was Melbourne by 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to run that competition again. I felt that it would be just unfair for someone who's 16 points off the margin. We're going to run it again this Saturday. So you'll be able to choose the print should you win. And also, if you go on her website, any of the Carlton prints that she's created for us, if you use the discount code Blue Abroad, one word, you get 10% off. So
they're absolutely grouse as well, man. Like they're super, super good.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Sammy G's. She's all class, a little bit shy, but hopefully this will help her out a little bit. So go and check that out. Be sure to enter that competition again. Basically, pick the winner, pick the margin, and there were probably 3 people that picked Melbourne to win in the comments. So it was a bit of a
well done, though, Blue fans. There,
yeah,
I like that. Kept the faith.
got a lot of time for that, mate. Let's move on. We're disappointed. We've got to move on. It's got to be practical. We have to move on. There's part of me that says, yeah, I'm going to try and find a case for us to beat Geelong and all of that. Still get a little bit annoyed at, but what about the last 2 rounds? But we can sit here and dwell on it, or we can move on, and we have to move on. Do you expect to win? What is your expectation?
I always expect to win.
And what's your expectation at home?
I think that's my duty as a fan, like to expect the best of my football club.
Yep.
It's not often I do videos like I did on Pomenos the other night and cried at the end of it. That's how much it means to me. So to me, I expect to see that reflected from my players, and I expect to see us put this game behind us. I expect the players to want to redeem themselves because I know they're better. So people who see me angry, it's because I know they're capable of something. I get angry at my kids when they don't meet my expectations, when I know they can do it. And I know they can do it. So whether they'll do it this weekend, I think it's a big task. Geelong are a very acquitted outfit, and they made Hawthorn, who are a military precision team, look
coached by the best.
So to me, it's a big ask. But I'll tell you what, if there's a time that you prove me wrong and you wear my beloved blue jersey with pride and passion, this is the freaking game. You do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm such a Carlton nuffy. I think we can win.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we can do it. It's a small chance, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm a Carlton fan. I think they can win.
I think I think
like I see it there. If the intensity matches the talent level across the ground, I'm really confident we can compete with any side, bar the West Coast, Geelongs, Richmonds, maybe GWS at their very best.
For me, as looking at the stats, you see us at our best when we have that third quarter. Our third quarter is historically our best, and our fourth quarter is very good as well.
Yeah,
we can compete with any of the 18.
Yeah,
if we can bring that level for 4 quarters, I'll tell you what, Richmond will struggle. We've proven that against Richmond.
Yeah.
But the problem is can they bring it 4 quarters?
Yeah.
And I want them to. I'd rather us start like that and get battered at the end. But the scary thing is now, and you touched on it in your summarization, of they have the legs. It's obvious now that this whole argument we've had for 3 years, they're young, they're learning, they need to get fit. These guys are fit, man. I've never seen a Carlton side this fit. So they need it for 4 quarters. We know they've got it in.
Yep.
And I really hope they do it. And if they do it, They can beat anybody. I believe that vehemently this side can win any match it plays if it plays to its maximum potential.
I'll tell you one person from Geelong who I'm not worried about. Tom Hawkins.
Yeah, he needs to piss off and.
I'm not worried about, and the thing is, he hasn't played very well in terms of returning goals over the first couple of rounds.
He's due goals.
He's due goals, but he's on Wiedering. He's on Wiedering, and they beat us by. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they beat us by 68 points last time we played them?
Yeah, he didn't kick
Season was dead. The guys were on their holiday, so we're giving them an out because they lost badly. But he didn't kick a goal on Jacob Wiedering in Geelong in a 12 goal win for Geelong. He didn't kick a goal.
His last 3 games, he's kept Tom Lynch, Tom McDonald, who has a 4.2 goal average against us, and Tom Hawkins to 0.
Yeah,
like Wheaters is just collecting key forwards.
And as annoyed as we were at round 1, he played that well in that effort that it was literally the perfect defender's game.
I love Wiedering. I thought when he dropped to his knees at the end of the game, you could see it hurt him.
Yeah.
And man, I just want to run out there and just kiss him.
So there is a point, and I can't remember who made the comment, so I apologize if I've missed your name, but someone made a comment about, well, he's in his 5th year. Maybe we should be waiting a little bit more for, 2016 class, 2017 class. It was Debbie. Yeah, and she's got a point. She's got a point. He's coming into his own now. We've had our moments where we might have questioned his ability, and he had his challenges, as they all do. Are we being a bit harsh? Are we being a bit harsh? Are we being a little bit impatient? Are we getting sucked into the trap of, no, you just got to trust the process? What do you think? I know you don't believe that, but is there merit to it?
I question anyone who thinks like that, because I don't think you've ever been in a decent enough elite level of sport. No one thinks if you're there, you're good enough.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
If you're picked by your coach, you're good enough. And I think it's a mindset thing. I think there maybe is a case that some of the young players, I think like Walsh, he gets a cop out.
Yeah.
He's young, he's learning his trade.
Yeah.
But some of these guys have played a hell of a lot of football games
for
their age.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking, there's a lot of over 50 gamers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's players that make all Australian from that position.
Yeah.
And I'd say, look at Rosie against Port. Did he look like a second-year player?
Ooh,
Matt Rowell, when he was making Luke Shuey look average, is he a second-year player?
Yeah.
Third-year player? There's no such statistic that says that. In fact, most statistics will show you the 4th year. People always make this rumor about third year. It's actually the 4th year that players usually start to hit what we call their fluctuation peak. So by the 4th year, you see players really say, this is what I'm about. This is my 6 out of 10 game now, and everything's better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think personally, there is a lot of players there that I don't blame. I think if anyone's blaming the young kids, I think you may be mishearing what everyone's saying, because to me, my issue was with some of the senior
guys. Yeah, hell yeah.
Like your Mitch McGoverns, they played a lot of football, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're making catastrophic mistakes.
Yeah.
Mark Murphy, we love Mark. But
fan number 1 here. 0 tackles in 2020.
He was absolutely pish at the weekend.
Yeah.
Plowman, first quarter. This is one of the guys that the players say is the best lockdown defender at the club. And in the first quarter, he was breaking football rule 101 and playing behind his forward. So I ask these questions. It's not the young players. I would rather see Zach Fisher there.
Yeah.
At least I know what I get from Zach.
Yeah.
It goes one way. I mean, the biggest question I've got the football club.
Happy birthday, Zach Fisher, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
22
Zach.
today.
My biggest question is Jack Noons.
Yeah. An experienced head. I as I said before, I get the notion of, because we're talking about, we don't have any first-year players in the side, right? So we've got these experienced bodies, the Langs and the Noons, right? Now, I get it. Lang's production was what it was, right? But he's a senior body. He can run out of game. Noons as well. I don't want to take pot shots, but it's what we have to sort of look at it. We have to criticize it, because we're not getting. I don't know what we're getting. I just don't know what we're getting. Are we getting someone that's just able to run a game out?
We're getting letters in the alphabet, basically, on the team sheet. We're knocking L and N off. Like, to me, I would question, if David Teague was here now, I'd say, what the hell are you doing? Why? Lang's never going to get any better. This is his level.
Yep.
He's too old. Noons, he would have to break anomalies in sport, and it never happens.
Yeah.
So to me, why isn't O'Brien or someone similar playing in Noons' position? O'Brien has a higher ceiling than Noons ever has. And Lang, we've got loads of small forwards there. Why are we not playing someone like Josh Honey? Matt always kick 4. Someone said to me the other day, always kick 4. Like Sam Philp. Like Sam Philp to me was a no-brainer, and I don't care what you say. Melbourne struggle with pace and pressure. Lang provides none. Philp is tackles.
Lang's,
pace.
yeah, I'm making excuses for Lang, but for me, having him in the side, I was okay with it, because in my mind, I'm like, well, he's on the list, so that means you're going to give him a chance at some point in the year. If they continue to persist with him now, is probably where I'll probably have an issue with that.
4 touches, 1 goal.
Yeah, I know, and he set one up. I know. Well, I'm not making excuses,
little handoff,
but I understand that if he's on the list and they've pursued with him, and Jack Russell spoke about, I'm really excited to work with him. He's got his body right. You know, I get it. They see something there that maybe we don't. So I get that from that point. But let's touch on the youngsters, right?
Philp is everything. Like, this is the only trade period we've ever had.
But isn't this being a little hypocritical?
Where we address need.
Where we say, like, in regards to bringing Philp in, don't we want to be a club that doesn't have the young bloods just thrown out there? Don't we want to make them earn the games? Isn't that what the criticism has been over the last couple of years? You know, I get your point. Philp it would have been a great debut game. The traits he has match what we need, like, against Melbourne. Totally understand. But, you know, we've also spoken about, we've got so many young guys, we're just throwing them games. They're not made to earn it. Like Stocker, I don't know what's actually going on with Stocker, but what I know is he's going to really have to push into the side and earn it, right? Isn't that what we wanted?
I'd say that I've never personally complained about youth in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I know. You know what I mean? Like the general notion of...
But to me, like, it's a football decision. Trent Rivers, he came in and he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And to me, there's a certain way you beat all clubs, and it's whether you want to believe it or not. I'm right on this one. There's a way to beat Melbourne, and that is pace on the outside. They've been begging for pace themselves, and it's pressure, and they fold under pressure. So to me, you've got a guy who's one of the fastest players in the draft. He ran, the fastest time over the 20 metres, and he's a tackle machine, quote from Russell himself. Free hit against them.
Yep.
Stick him on the wing and say, have a run, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to have seen him stretch them when they were stretched. So to me, like, Lang, what does he bring us? I think the most touches he's ever had for Carlton is 6.
No, he's pretty sure he had 14 or 15.
And if I hear someone say this to me one more time, he did well for Geelong. Tell you what, anyone watching this show would look all right playing for Geelong when you've got Selwood and Danger doing the hard stuff.
Yeah.
All you got to do is sit there and kick the ball.
No, it's a fair call.
I love Philp. And so to me, I think if we are getting better, you've got to swing the axe. You've got to make changes. Goodwin said it himself when he was asked the question, why so many changes? He said so many people had proved they deserved a chance after their abject performance in round 1.
Yeah.
That's what the clubs are for.
Yep.
We've got the list now.
Very true. A few more comments here. Riley, not impatient. I think we've been quite patient as supporters and have been largely very loyal. We all love this club until we die, but the club was supposed to begin decline by now. Connor, love the setup, mate. Thank you, mate. It's all thanks to Assertive Media. Shad over here running the show. It's Go Blues. It's a fascinating place here, and we're very, very grateful. Peter Charles, Lang is a list clogger. Mark Henry, I think Noons, Newman, Lang out. Willow Fisher, Silvani if fit in, otherwise Philp. Matt DeLuca, good evening to you, mate. Stocker and Philp need a run. Pierre Assyrian, there's a reason why our supporters are being a little impatient. We've been waiting for far too long for things to change. For fuck's sake, we just want to start winning. Terrence Stella, Stocker, question mark. Josh Clevs, we did that Stocker trade. We need to play him. If we had pick 4 last year, we could have got some serious talent. Let's talk about, again, we'll go a little deeper about these kids. Should we be worried that we're not seeing Stocker or O'Brien sort of even in consideration on the emergency list? Are we happy that they are being really, well, they're not playing. They're not in consideration. Teague has made a comment about Stocker saying he's not ready. I thought O'Brien looked good in preseason at Match Sim. I thought the way Teague spoke about him and how he simplified his role as a run and kick type player, I thought he was there or thereabouts. When I didn't see him as an emergency or spoken about as being in the mix, I'm starting to question it. I don't want to rush the kids, but at the same time, like Philp, for example, he's an emergency. So he's knocking down the door. Should we be worried about Stocker and O'Brien? And if not, when is the time where we should start thinking, well, what's happening?
I think you've got to remember, especially with Stocker, if we weren't so miraculously improved under Teague, that would have been Raul going to the Crows. So you've got to say, we took a chance, a big chance.
Yeah, we took a big...
I'm telling you now, if Raul went to Adelaide for Stocker, Sauce would be regarded as the worst list manager of all time.
Yeah.
That would have been lunacy. He
Right.
rolled the dice, and the boys made Sauce look very good. It turned out to be an astute choice. So we've invested a lot for Stocker, and I was kind of concerned in pre-season when he was playing forward pocket against Geelong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. My understanding is that he's a midfield bull. My understanding is that he can also play across halfback, got a booming left foot kick.
Very, very good kick.
Yeah,
very accurate
that was
kick.
my understanding of him. Obviously, I haven't watched him in depth. He looked very combative, during match sim in the pre-season.
With Cripper in the training.
Yeah.
Like JSOS was, and we know how that turned out. JSOS suddenly rose the ranks and stopped some very good footballers.
Yeah, I appreciate Teague saying he's not ready, needs to work on things. Love it. Direct. Cool, he's not ready. My question is to you and to you guys, like, are we worried? Are we worried about anything here? Are we worried that we're not seeing them? Rafi, thank you for the $5, mate. And
I will be worried.
Matt, thank you for the 2 as well.
I will be worried if we get to round 12 and we're like 1-10, 1-11. Let's do some maths there. 1-11, and we aren't seeing Stocker. Because to me, at the moment, Murph, Ed, you understand we know what happened on the ball, when you put children on the ball. It was disaster 101.
Yeah.
But like for me, I do worry about Lockie O'Brien massively, because to me, O'Brien is a Teague player. He looks for.
I love him. I love his. I mean, I loved his second half of the year last year.
He looks for early entries.
Yeah,
and looking at the forward lead patterns, we need early ball.
Yeah,
and he looks for that. He runs all day.
Yeah,
I like Lockie, and to me, Lockie would make more sense than Nunes because he was starting to get to them 14, 15, 16 touches last year when we kept criticising him for 10 touch games. He was starting to find the pill a bit more. And I love Lockie. And yeah, so to me, I asked the question, Nunes isn't going to be there when we win a flag next. But Lockie is, and he's a pick 10. Yeah. People forget that.
Yeah, he's highly touted.
10.
Yeah. Rafi has a question here. This player attitude started with Malthouse, Bolton, and now it's Teagues. When are we going to accept that there is a culture problem at the club? I don't know. I think the message, Rafi, again, appreciate the donation. We don't know is the answer. I don't know. All we do know is they speak about the culture changing. We hear about the training standards lifting. We hear about Jack Martin increasing the training standards with the way he attacks the ball at training and he brings others along for the ride. We hear about Paddy Cripps taking Jack Martin under his wing and all these other midfielders. We hear about them, and I genuinely do believe that there is a good vibe going on there. I mean, it's based off how they talk, how they interact with each other, being at open training and seeing it. And again, it's a very small sample size, but I don't question the culture in the sense of, do they want to play for one another and with one another, and do they enjoy each other's presence? I just question mentality in games with lack of intensity and inability to really impose yourself. That's my question. So is it culture? Maybe it is. I don't know. Again, we're servants to the club. We have to wait.
I think from speaking to players who were around that time, I know they said to me after we got them sanctions for cheating the salary cap, if you will, there was kind of that big culture shift in trying to be a bit more public friendly. So we kind of lost that ruthlessness, win at all costs. So I think that's part of it. But I also think a big part of it is, and I can't reiterate how important this is winning breeds winning. Success breeds success. And you've got to remember, probably 95% of them, that club, they don't know what winning is. And it's hard to teach that. I mean, like sometimes I remember them saying about Sergio Garcia, a great golfer, all the talent in the world. He's going to have to fall over the line one day so he knows what winning is. And eventually he did. And
Richmond did it as well.
So to me, yeah, we need a couple of them games like this one against Melbourne where it goes our way and we accidentally win. And we're like, fucking how did that happen?
Freo.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But to me, my concern is since that Geelong game, the queue in the rack in the Geelong game, I thought was a worry because I was always taught when I played sport, finish on a high. Last shot being your best shot.
You played to the last side.
Like your last shot, even if you're playing horribly, make this last shot good because it brings you back next week. And to me, I just feel like that is I don't think there's a culture problem per se, but I think there's maybe, I really do firmly believe that Teague sets up a lot differently than when it's the second quarter. I think I'd like to see Teague say to the boys, you know what, let's do these shots, sharp kicks from the back line, from ball, from first bounce. Let's take the game on. Let's lose. And I said last year, Stewie Jew, I love watching him, and he'll have success. And I said it before Carlton, so it was about April last year. Gold Coast will start winning more games than Carlton quickly because he plays aggressive. He sets them up to win games, and we don't.
No.
We set up kind of to be like, oh, let's see what you're doing. It's a bit like going on a date, and you're like, oh, what's she look like? Do you think she'll like me? Where Gold Coast is just like, let's go for it, boys.
Yep.
And I want to see that. I want to see a little bit of fight. They can play football, no doubt. Talented bunch.
Let's talk changes. Let's talk potential changes. What do you guys think at home? I've seen a few of them here. People want to see Lockie O'Brien this week. People want to see Lang out.
My boy.
What are your changes at home? Your suggested changes, Dan? What are your suggested changes? Does Jack come straight in for Lang? Do we just make that switch as it was?
Oh, every day, every day, and then whoever looks after the contracts accidentally shred it.
Yeah. So Jack in for Lang.
If I was picking the team personally, I would drop McGovern, and I would move Casbolt to the thing. I think I personally would. I'd like to see
knowing what we don't have in the second tier competition in terms of McGovern going back and finding form.
I think some statements need to be made, and for me, I would be getting rid of Nooms.
Yep.
I would be getting rid of Plowman.
Yep.
I would be getting rid of McGovern, and I would be getting rid of obviously Newman because he's injured.
Yeah, I disagree. I went hard at all of them in the review, and it wasn't good enough. I don't want to drop them, partly because of they can't just go and find form in this second tier competition because there is none, but also partly because this is the list. These are the guys. Go out there and do it again. Get it right. And Mitch, I want more from him. I made it very clear, but I don't want to drop him. I just want him to get it done this week. And is that rewarding mediocrity? I don't know. Maybe it is.
For me, I use this Eddie Betts situation to our advantage. And these boys should be fired up because tell you what,
you got to find something.
Tell you what, man, how their fans treated Eddie.
Yeah.
If I was a player now, I'd be like, first bounce, I'm taking merit out.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the face of every one of the Essendon players
and saying,
saying, you know what, let's send Essendon back home. All their fans crying because we won for our head. So to me, I'd be using that as a carrot. No one expects us to beat Geelong.
Yep.
It is a game too far. Let's be honest.
Yep.
So to me, I would be saying, let's see what Josh Honey's about. Let's see who's X, Y, Z
now.
Now, I'd be saying you've got a chance to play Essendon. You've got. A chance.
You mean in a couple of weeks?
Yeah. Now I'd be saying you've got a chance to play Essendon. So you know what, McGovern, you can't do it. Levi, you show the heart.
Yeah, I think you're being a bit harsh.
No, make him earn it in training. Make him show us he wants it because that kick he had 10 minutes from time that went out of bounds.
Yeah, I know.
He's not 700k.
Yeah, I know. No. I feel you. It's not acceptable. We've got Wildy here, JSOS, Williamson, and Philp for Lang, Newman, and Nunes. Willow's coming in, yeah?
Yeah, you see, for me, all them players I dropped, I would bring Philp, Willow, JSOS, and I would be bringing Lockie O'Brien back, my boy. Beautiful blonde-haired kid.
Okay. And
let's go. Let's play. Let's force ourselves to play aggressive football because if we take away the height, we can't play this mindless, pointless, boot it down the wing.
Yeah, I know. Not against Geelong. No, not against them.
No, but if you take them out, they can't physically play that.
Mm-hmm. It's a very simple concept. Levi Casbolt, love that he can bump, who was it, Nick Newman in training? He's got to be able to bring that in game next week. I feel like if we don't come out this week and if we don't try and physically impose ourselves against Geelong and, let them know that, hey, we're here. If we try and just beat them with skill, I don't think we're going to beat them.
It's amazing, isn't it, though, in training, Levi's 10 bears. But I'll tell you what, watch him play Melbourne, shrivels up.
Yeah.
So what I want to see is Levi at centre-half forward. I want to see him say, tell you what, Levi, give me that.
Okay.
What you did to Newman. So to me, and I'm going to say something controversial, Carlton, when they moved the ball like they did, middle of the second, third quarter, up there with the best in the league.
Yeah, they were good.
Up there with the best in the league. Watch what Collingwood did to Richmond.
Yeah.
That was us in the third quarter from half.
The short kicking.
Taking the game.
Yeah.
So why don't we force the team to play like that from round one?
Yep.
Removing the height, removing that option of the kick down the wing and say, play football, boys.
Interesting. Let's turn the attention to you guys. Fan questions. There was a lot of them.
Yeah, there was
a lot of conversation over the weekend. The post today that I put up, Instagram as well. I'm going to get a few out here.
There was some grouse ones.
There were, the conversations. I've really enjoyed them. I really have. So let's start here. Nick_Mackers on Instagram. Is it time we change up the midfield chuck guys like Martin and SPS in there. I loved Martin's ability to really want to take the game on with that pace. He just obviously didn't get the opportunity early.
With his ball in hand,
What'd you say?
it's so good to see. You see, for me, I don't like SPS down halfback at all. I really don't. And I thought first quarter showed why, because he does risky things. And turning the ball over at halfback now, suicide. But I think in the midfield doing them kind of things, you've got time. You've got a good 2 lines of defense to get through. And I like his endeavor and his willingness to take the game on. So I would like to see him in the middle, definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
Good call.
Marcus Scuotto, friend of the pod, friend of the channel.
Great
He's also co-host of a podcast called the Pressure Point Podcast. So they've just started up there. Some good stuff there. When will the mediocrity end? Yeah, when? Well,
for as long as we allow it to.
Yeah.
And I'll double down on that. We got Teague a job, so we can change the club. We can change it. If we start protesting and getting upset, eventually they can't ignore it anymore. So do yourselves a favour. These boys are worth more than pats on the back. They deserve 4 points. Every one of these fucking blokes deserves 4 points.
Yeah.
So start expecting it of them, because eventually it will happen.
Yeah. It will. It will happen. We're just trying to get it to happen. It'll happen, but it's not it's not a given though. My learning in watching footy, I remember thinking 2011 when we sort of had this group, and I was like, well, we're just going to be good now. It's not how it works.
Oh, 100%.
It's just not how it works. Just because you have the talent on the list, it literally ended round 4, 2012, and that was the end of it. When Carazzo did his collarbone and then Murph ran into Dangerfield, that was it.
Game over, yeah.
That was it. Yeah, we played finals in 2013. You know, there was a little bit of a, but
glimmer.
that didn't have a feeling of, hey, we're here for a while. And you know, we're in the early stages of this group. They haven't peaked yet. Clearly, they're going to get better. There's no doubt about that.
For me,
nothing's a given.
When some of these like blue-blooded, blue-eyed fans say things like, "Oh, don't be too harsh on the players," the club say X, Y, Z. Remember, the club said at the start of this year, David Teague and Cripper said, "No more excuses. Results are on the field."
Yeah.
So now, for me, if you are a real loyal fan and you lap up all the crap they send you,
yeah, but I love drinking the Kool-Aid, mate.
No, but it's now time to start winning.
I love the Kool-Aid.
To me, Teague said that for one reason. He knows this group of players is good enough to start winning.
Yeah.
And you watch the second quarter, they're good enough to start winning.
Yeah.
So let's start expecting that of them, because that is now the benchmark. We don't lose to Melbourne. Melbourne are a Mickey Mouse club.
Yeah. The mentality.
They're not a real football club. Yeah. They haven't been relevant since Barassi played.
Yeah.
So ignore Melbourne, Mickey Mouse Football Club.
Yeah.
There's a reason they begin with N, right? Carlton Football Club.
Yeah.
We are AFL. Teague says they're ready. Cripper says they're ready. I respect their opinion. Start showing me you're ready.
Yeah. Doc says they're ready, and we've got to take his word for it.
And Doc's half Scottish, so Poms never lie.
Love it. Swoop Luke. He's a Collingwood man.
Boo.
He's a Collingwood man. But
great
I know.
podcast.
Yeah,
great YouTube. I love Swoop Luke. He's the only person in the world who does double shackers that I don't want to nail in the face.
No, good fella.
Good art as well.
He's taken a bit of a stab here. He's trying to ruffle some feathers, though.
Come on, Luke. I'm just shouting you out, bro.
Swoop Luke. All this debate about Walsh and Rosie would be an interesting deep dive. Maybe not today. This week's not the week to go into the Walsh and Rosie debate.
Controversial opinion. Walsh will be better than Pendlebury. Take that one, Luke. Enjoy that one.
So he copped that. There's your clout, mate.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
There's your clout there. Blue Kano. When will the club unleash the speedster in Philp? Is it going to be this week?
Good argument for that, because Geelong doesn't have natural pace on its wings.
Okay.
Maybe a chance to attack them. You watch Hawthorn when they had success in the first quarter. It was through Isaac Smith, was through Warple going down the left side. So for me, yeah, I mean, why not? Because, I mean, like, honestly, these are the games that probably, my heart of hearts, these are a top 4 side Geelong. We don't win them. If you're going to be in the 8, you probably ain't going to beat a top 4 side. You could beat everyone else around you. So just give him a go. Because tell you what, it's Essendon, but I reckon Essendon will be it, because my club is the most predictable club in the world. And Carlton love a debut against Essendon. So bet your ass to the barn dance. It'll be Philp or Ben Silvani against Essendon.
Wow.
Because Silvani's debut against
Essendon. They do. Wildy has one as well. List management. Do we have the list to take us forward? I think there's a lot of work to do, but we have a call and it's not enough. The other one is football department personnel. I think it's largely underwhelming. As we said before, last year we spoke about, these assistant coaches and we looked at the top 4 teams and who's on their panel. I'm not like, first of all, neither of us are qualified to know if these assistant coaches are going to be able to get the job done. It's just, it's, you know, again, it just comes down to, I don't know. It's just what I think's happening. It's just discussion. But do you have faith in the coaches that we have? And, you know, we've spoken about the list, but do you have...
They've brought a lot of outside talent in. So there's obviously a reason for that.
Yep.
So they brought in a lot of people. For me, I would like to see... I think it's more of a playing group issue. So I would like to see a couple of leaders around there.
Yep.
In the terms of they've won. They've come from winning cultures. We hear... I was listening to Harris Andrews and he was saying about Luke Hodge, about talking about turning up at a suit in training. You know, little things that Hawthorn did that brings that winning mentality.
Yeah.
So I think we lack that. I think we lack an edge of someone who's been there and done that.
Yeah. There's a bit of a growing up to do, isn't there?
But I genuinely do believe, as much as I hate the football club at the moment, I genuinely believe that there's the spine there to win. I reckon there's at least 20 players here who are Premiership players.
Same. That's where the frustration comes from.
And that is why I'm so hurt.
Yep. I totally agree.
Because they're doing themselves an injustice.
Yeah.
And I hope they feel my pain.
Yep. I'm sure they do, bro.
Probably don't. When they're walking off the field having a giggle, they don't care.
I'm sure they do. A few more comments here on YouTube. There's been heaps. Appreciate your engagement here.
Can't wait for the hate.
No, you got to cop it, mate.
I love a bit of copying.
Yeah, you got to cop it. Everyone's got to cop it. Paul Walsh, I think we're using the Rocky Balboa theory. Let them smash us early on until they're spent, then counterattack. Nice in theory, boys, but this ain't Hollywood. I like that.
Tell you what, though, it's a good movie, though. Rocky
I like that. Marlo Jenkins, thoughts on Cripps holding off contract talks? I don't have any issue with it. You know, we've got a new deal that's being negotiated. If I'm his manager, I'm telling him to wait as well. It's going to be the Brody Grundy, the danger. It's going to be that saga. We're going to experience
He probably has signed the contract as well. You know how corrupt Gillian is.
Who?
So, you know how...
You think Cripps has already signed the contract to leave?
No, to stay. And you know what Gillian's like? He's like, oh, just don't announce it so we can sell papers and have a 7-hour freaking contract talk. Guy's a pleb.
Oh, gosh. Hilltop Hoodlum. Give Gibbons a run in the middle. He's won 2 JJ Liston medals. Love the way he plays. Couldn't agree more.
I know, it was absolutely
couldn't agree more. I'm not sure if it's a full-time midfield thing because we're talking about a very versatile team. We want to get Murph minutes in there. We want to get Jack Martin minutes in there. We want to get Dave Cunningham minutes in there. We want to get Gibbons minutes in there. You know, Fisher, etc., Setterfield. So I don't know. Are we trying to develop versatile utilities, or are we trying to be specialists? Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe we just need to wait because we're sort of trying to teach them to become a lot more versatile, and that's going to take longer.
I think when you watch Richmond, they often change their midfield core, and it keeps them fresh so they can be intense and play that real hard to the ball brand. You watch Martin, 10 minutes on the ball, 10 minutes at full forward. So to me, someone said to me at the game, oh my God, who would have thought Gibbons would be good on the ball? And I'm like, what do you mean? Guy's probably the best VFL midfielder there's been for like 10 years.
Absolutely.
Like, amazing what happens, Carlton, if you actually put him in his natural position. Yeah. But yeah, I think definitely for me, I like Gibbons. I like what he brings. Them tackles. What was it? 5 tackles. There's a bit of hunger there.
He led the team in tackles with.
It was either 5 or 6, wasn't it?
It was 5 with. I'm going to say it was Jack Martin. Maybe it was Jack Martin.
Jack, I'm sure, laid a few tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for me, there it is. Like Gibbons, yeah, to me, he offers you something different. And options win you matches. So I like him in the midfield. I do like him.
Yep. This is from Facebook. This was, where are we? Jeff O'Day, I like this one. There are question marks against certain players for sure. Given the short lead up, wholesale changes and supporter tantrums are an overreaction to 1 point loss. JSOS, O'Brien, or Philp in. Maybe Lang Noons omitted and Newman obviously injured. Gov started slow. Gov started to show some form, missed an easy goal and dropped a mark he should have taken, but certainly started to look dangerous. Form usually builds, so I think he and H will be better for the run. I'm backing us to beat Geelong at the Cattery by 16. Go Blues. Good on you, mate. Rafi, where are we? Oh, no, that was your question just there as well. Love it. Jack Tyler, our spine is really starting to come together. Wiedering is going to be the best defender in the league soon. Love it. Mackay is only going to get better. And when he has support around him, and Pittonet looks like our first solid ruckman in a very long time. However, we're still a team packed with almost players. Solid contributors in a good team, but not good enough to carry a bottom-feeding club like Carlton back to the top.
Bottom-feeding?
And is it too
Don't
early
hold
to
back.
say? I mean, he's got a point.
Don't fucking hold back, mate.
He's got a point.
Love it.
And is it too early to say Walsh will have the second-year blues? Hasn't done much in the first 2 rounds and was also quiet in the JLT series. Dropping Wiedering early in his career worked. So at what point do we do the same with Walsh? I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not there in terms of dropping him. Nowhere near it. I remember when I did the preview for him this year. I'm cool with him plateauing this year. Like not getting worse, but plateauing. I understand there's a different mentality going forward because the novelty of the first year, he built momentum week after week. It was all fresh and new to him. Now he's in that grind. Now he's in that the attention's not there anymore. Every mistake he makes is magnified. He's been built up. So for me, it's just a challenge. He's entering that challenge of his career where he's going to work through it, or he's not. I back him in. I'm always looking for how he plays, how he approaches a contest. Is he trying to gut run? He blazed away a little bit, but it was due to like wanting to do something. And sometimes he holds the ball a little bit too long because he wants to do something. He tries to maybe overstretch himself. And I'd rather him do that than not get the ball.
Look at SPS when Bolton had the conversation with him about turning the ball over and taking the game on. And he went downhill quicker than any player I've ever seen. And we're already starting to see SPS now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Sam Walsh, let him make the mistakes. Like the one thing I agree with Teague on is we win or we learn, and we'd rather learn when we win.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous in sport. But for Walsh, he should learn like that way because he's a game changer. But to me, you've got to remember what Walsh is. Walsh isn't going to be your Judd win you a game.
Mm-hmm.
Walsh is going to be your Mark Murphy on steroids. It's going to get 30 touches, use it well, and bring other players around him.
Yep.
And the problem is Walsh is probably already our second best midfielder.
Probably.
Who's he giving it to?
Yeah.
So he needs help with people helping him a little bit, but it'll get better. And I think the forward line, he needs to. He was kicking in 2019 Carlton forward line, and I think everyone forgot we did have bets. You don't have to keep kicking to centre half forward.
Yep.
And as that develops, I think you'll see a better side of Walsh as well. But I mean, let's be honest, we've been overrun in the midfield for 2 games.
Yep.
And if we're criticising a 1-year player, there's players, I can give you a list of about 20 blokes who were before Walsh.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. Well, guys, that'll do it for tonight. It's good to get it off the chest, mate. It's good to get it off the chest.
Can't wait to smash Geelong.
Fire up, mate. We're going to beat the Cats this week. It's all going to be fine. We're going to be fine next week. We're going to be in this studio talking about a 4-point win against Geelong. But no, thank you very much. Shad, once again, thanks for the studio. Thanks for everything you've done. Caps are here as well, by the way. These are now on sale.
Very groovy.
So let us know. Message me on Facebook or Instagram if you want to get yours. Limited supply. We'll see how they go. And as always, mate, go the Blues.
Go Blues.
Let's do it.